Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in once again to the dungeon of the Doctors of Doom, where I am your host, Alex the Shark Sparks, and joining me this week is Mitch Hard Out Black and our producer, Vinny Always Soft Santucci. We do have a hard out today because, one of our guys has to leave early, so this will be a shorter episode than the last couple, but the last two have been super long, so maybe that'll work out. Guys, go ahead and say hello to everyone out there.
Hello.
Hello, universe.
And like I said,
This is
Vinny
probably one
started
of the
advancing
better.
that
This is
intro.
probably one of the. This is probably one of the better backgrounds that I've seen in a while.
Yeah, I thought this was pretty cool. I don't know who D&D Breakfast Club is, but props to them for letting me steal their wallpaper and use it as our background. Anyway, boys, let's dive into some sports. Any sports news you guys want to cover? I know there's some topics and stuff that we're going to talk about, but before we get into those, any sports news in the last week that have interested you or that you want to discuss?
I mean, sports news. It looks like there might be another NFL diddler on the loose, so I thought that was kind of interesting. And by on the loose, I also mean not on a current roster or football team, and Christian Wilkins. So that
Pretty
has
sure.
been a pretty fun topic to cover as a Raider fan.
Yeah, Raiders in the news because one of their players was kissing his teammates and got cut from the team. Super weird story. Not even gonna lie about it. And then
It's not only a weird story, but it makes it weirder that you guys gave him $100 million like 20 or 360 days ago.
look, he was just taking good game to the next level. All right.
You guys are giving him a next good game, giving him $100 million.
Well, he won't be
How
having any good
about
games for
I
us.
think
And yeah,
I think the
that fake
best.
Instagram post that Mitch posted is fantastic. I'm gonna read it. So Mitch sent us a fake Instagram post for a quote from Max
I
Crosby.
don't know. It seems pretty real to
I,
me.
I don't mind teammates showing a little affection, slap on the ass, peck on the cheek after a big win. Even the occasional nut cat tap is warranted in the right situation. It was the kissing booth he set up in the showers that crossed the line. Oh man, it's great.
Let's all be real here, Mac. We knew it was fake because Max Crosby wouldn't have a problem with a kissing booth in the showers. That's why we knew it was fake.
Whoa.
Hey,
He's trying to
there's
kiss
only
the
one
whole
person on
Whereas,
this
team.
podcast that I know of who's had a shower with another man, and it's not me and Vinny. Hashtag not saying,
Yeah,
just saying.
Crosby was
speaking
trying
of
to
hard
kiss
outs,
Mahomes every time he plays him.
but
Anyway,
I think my favorite part of that whole story is the fact that it's like even the kissing on the head. Like I don't know if that's enough to be like the super weird stuff that he was doing in the locker room. Even though like maybe it's a little weird. I
Have you seen the
just don't
video?
know if like.
oh,
But
there's no
I
way that's what got him fired. Like Mitch said, $100 million
right.
contract. You don't lose a $100 million contract because you kissed a guy in the head. There's more to it than that.
Yeah, the more, well,
But my
first of all,
Not that
yes, I
that's
know.
not super weird because it is, but there's more to it than that.
Yeah, but I think that my favorite part is like an ex teammate from the freaking rafters come out and says, "Yeah, my boy's on some freaky shit" or something like that. And he's like, "Or my boy Christian's a freak." And I'm like, "Wait, what else he do? Like, why is this like a known thing that this dude is just weird and does some like
Have,
freaky stuff
have you seen the videos of all
of
his freaky stuff?
yeah,
Can we talk about that on air?
yeah.
Oh, I think the one most incriminating is him doing like the stripper dance splits after winning the national title, national title or whatever. That one kind of gave it away, and all the other one is a very, very grabby, good games happening in a lot of these piles that he's involved in. As being the big boy in the center, he's involved in a lot of the bottom of the piles. And there's a lot of videos out there of him doing some really weird stuff.
Sounds like Mitch went down a rabbit hole in this story.
No.
Yeah,
You can
let's
find the videos. You can literally put it on your home screen right now if you just type in Chris
I,
Wilkins
I,
shady
why
on
do you think I
stuff.
want that on my home screen?
Well, I
let's
mean, so
just
you can.
put it this way. Homeboy needed some hand sanitizer and a deep scrub after where he was putting his hands in the middle of those
Yeah.
piles.
Where those hands were going was like not even warranted. And then you see the video with Josh Allen fighting him or whatever when in the Dolphins days or whatever, and you're like, why is Josh Allen? Josh Allen's just fiery. And then like you zoom in and it's like, whoa, Josh Allen needs to go be taken on a date first before that happens.
Yeah.
That video is pretty bad. But hey, I think
I
the
thought
what
Haley
I'm
Steinfeld is the only one that's supposed to touch Josh Allen like that.
for reals, and also well, you know, until recently. But the I think the problem that's going on is he's refusing to have foot surgery. So he had like foot surgery and it wasn't completely successful. You know, you never hear about that in the NFL because they never want to have it. Every time someone in the NFL has surgery, it's always successful, never a problem. But like reality is, you know, sometimes it's not all. And he's like having non-successful foot surgery and he's refusing to get more surgeries. And it's like a time bomb apparently of it reoccurring. And all the doctors on the Raiders are like, "You're gonna." He's basically waiting until he gets hurt again, and so they just didn't want to deal with him. And I think with his contract, you guys were able to save $40 million, which is kind of rare. Usually, when you sign $100 million guys, a lot of it's locked up into a signing bonus or guaranteed money. And somehow he didn't get a lot of guaranteed money in this contract. So
Well, I
if
mean, we
he had
saved 40,
already
which means he got 60, right? That's still pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. But at the same time, I think also if he would have had his contract locked up a little bit more, there wouldn't have been able an out to cut him for kissing other teammates on the forehead. Could you imagine though, just being Christian Wilkins and just being like, I got cut? Uh,
You reap what you sow sometimes.
I mean, and then the guy who complained to HR about the kiss because this was like a 3 week long process investigation by HR and the Raiders. It's like, who's the guy that's so upset with being kissed on the head that he went to HR and is getting this guy to lose $40 million? I don't know. It seems a little.
Well, I
I
mean,
don't know.
you don't like. I don't know that when he went to HR, he thought the guy was gonna get cut, right? Like, But yeah, I
I
don't know what he
mean,
thought would happen, but yeah, I mean, it's a weird. Like, what do you do if you're in that situation, right? Like, if
yeah.
if you're just chilling in the locker room and your teammate walks up and kisses you on the head, like, what? How do you react to that?
I'm telling you right now, if I was in the NFL in that locker room environment and in that, I'm not going to HR. I'm telling you, right? It's going to be more closer to how Gilbert Arenas and Javaris Crittenton solved their problems as opposed to going to HR.
Gilbert Arenas, who was just arrested for an illegal poker game, that Gilbert Arenas, things are working out great for him.
And Crittenton, who they pulled guns on each other in the locker, and Crittenton's back in jail for, or went to jail for like 8, 9 years. Yeah. They pulled guns on each other in the locker room in the Wizards. That's what the joke was. But I'm just kidding. I'm just saying I don't think
I know, but it was
HR.
literally it was a news story today, Mitch. So I couldn't help it. Like if you
Gotcha.
on
Yeah.
ESPN's homepage, Arenas arrested on illegal poker game charges. Like it
Oh,
happened
I honestly
today.
did. I honestly didn't even know. Maybe I read that subconsciously. And that's why it came to my head. But
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just saying going to HR would probably be the last way that stuff gets handled. I could
Yeah,
just imagine
especially with
like
the Raiders organization, I just feel like you're gonna be labeled now, right? Like if you're the guy that goes to HR, like you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It's just I don't
It
know.
reminds me of the skit in Tires with Shane Gillis, where it's like you're gonna do an HR with a bunch of guys from mechanic shops. Like how that's on you. That's your fault. You have an HR guy in the Raiders locker room. That's on you. I'm sure there's like a million things that can get reported weekly, but what do I know?
Yeah, well, I mean, and, like it sucks
Yeah,
for the
I
guy,
mean,
right? Because like you want an out, like you want a way to like stop this from happening because it's weird and you're uncomfortable. But at the same time, like by coming forward, now that whole locker room's not going to trust you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're done.
So
I like how mad do you have to be
well,
to get kissed on the forehead or on the top of the head or whatever apparently is how it went. Like you have to be some legit angry mad.
well, like I
Like
said,
there has
there has to be more
yeah,
to it than that. It couldn't like
right.
it could because like if I'm just chilling there at my locker and a guy walks up and kisses me on the head, I'm probably just more confused or in shock than anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the f just happened? You know what I mean? Like turn to the guy next to me. Did you see this shit? So like,
Yeah.
uh, it had to be more than that. You know what I mean? Like this, I'm sure this wasn't the first time or like or whatever.
The kissing, that's why the kissing booth is the best
The
thing
kissing
I've
booth in
ever
the showers.
that, that was the drawing the line. There has to be some line. It can't be, oh, this guy gave me a kiss on the forehead or the top of the head. Like, especially when he's that big of a guy, it's more of like, it's kind of like more of like funny and slash his personality because he's a big dude, like a massive dude. So it's like, I think it's more of like, yeah, I don't know. Poor HR.
yeah,
Imagine being the HR guy too. He's like, yeah, I have to bring this complaint to management. What's
yeah.
up,
The
Vinny?
whole thing is no. I was just gonna say like the whole thing is just is wild. Like I think the Raiders are looking for an out. But Alex, what it made me think of is when is the last time that the Raiders have signed or traded for like a big wig play? Like, dude, the Raiders over the last 6 or 7 years have some of the best free agent signings and or trades, and none of them work out. Like literally none work out. So we had Christian Wilkins, who was arguably the number one defensive free agent. The year before that, we signed Ngakoue, and then had him for a year. We were like, oh, pair him with Max Crosby, pair this guy with Max Crosby. Then, trade for Devontae Adams. That
If only
doesn't
we
work
had a
out.
guy
Trade for
before Max
Antonio
Crosby
Brown.
who was really good with the last name Mac that maybe we could have signed. You know, if only.
Yeah, right? Yeah, if only. Who's still getting fat contracts
Yeah,
nowadays?
Khalil Mack still getting paid,
Um,
still making sacks. If only we had that guy instead of Christian Wilkinson. Ugh.
Yeah, dude. I'm pretty sure we've signed some other big defensive tackles in the last couple of years that never panned out. Um, but like, it's no wonder that the Raiders have a 5-win team all the time because anybody they sign or trade for is just absolute garbage. I guess this is my note to stay away from Geno Smith in all drafts.
Gee,
That's random. What? Sorry, can you backtrack on that? Why? How did we get to Geno Smith and staying away from him?
No, I'm just saying like any Raider acquisition in the offseason never pans out. So I'm like maybe I should
Oh,
just not
gotcha.
touch Geno
Okay.
Smith. Yeah.
Does
I
the
thought he was
draft
somehow
count as
involved
an
in the Wilkinson
offseason?
story. I was like, oh, go on.
Does the draft count as an off-season acquisition? You guys have done pretty well there.
I mean,
I'm just joking.
No, I don't think the draft counts on
yeah,
acquisition.
no, we actually do pretty good in the draft.
Well, in the
No,
last
no,
couple of
we're not
years,
like-
we've done pretty well in the draft. I think the decade, 2 decades prior to that, I would argue differently.
Yeah, true. True. It's definitely gone uphill. We've had some good picks at least.
I don't know how I came across this or whatever, but I thought this was interesting. If I could ask you guys the um, top 10 best seasons for a sophomore wide receiver. I'm seeing it. Do you know that? Did I say that correctly? So the top 10 sophomore seasons ever put together by a wide receiver. So not their rookie year, but their second year. Who has the 10 best second years as wide receivers? Could you name any of the players? I'm curious. Just go ahead and name if you can. Who do you think? Like I'll give you right now, 1995, the number one sophomore wide receiver was Isaac Bruce, and it's never been beaten since 1781. So could you do you think you know any of the other top nine guys?
Jalen Waddle.
Sorry,
Not on there.
Sorry, Mitch. Give me that again.
Wow.
So Isaac Bruce in 1995 had 1,781 receiving yards. It is the highest ever in a sophomore season. So this is just year two wide receivers because it's always kind of a thing in fantasy, year two, and then the jump from year two to year three. So it'll lead into my eventual, year two questions. But in all time, who's had the 10 best year two fantasy wide receiver or yardage wide receiver
Oh.
seasons?
Randy Moss.
Julio
He is
Jones.
not on that list. Julio's not on that list.
Because second year is
Calvin
usually like
Johnson.
when people slump, right? So like, but not with wide receivers as much. It's more of like a quarterback thing.
Yeah, so that's why it usually is second year wide receivers have the biggest jump in fantasy production and then a little bit tapered off into their third year. So then I'm going to name you second year.
Anquan
Yes.
Bolden.
Ooh, not on there.
Larry Fitzgerald.
Not on there.
Can you at least like give us
What
give
is
us an
happening?
era?
What
Like,
is
is
this
it more
list?
is it more recent players?
Number two is 2013 Browns.
Well, you don't have to give us the team. I just meant like
Oh, Braylon Edwards?
Nope.
Josh Gordon.
Yeah.
Josh Gordon? Wow.
That's a pull.
Number three is 2000 Rams.
2000? And you already had Isaac Bruce?
Should
Torrey
be the-
Holt?
Yeah, there you go. Well done. 2021. Number four is 2021 Vikings.
Oh, Justin
It's
Jefferson.
obvious. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Jamar
This one is
Chase.
also this one is also very obvious. 1986 49ers. who also owns like every wide receiver record book in
Record.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess that
Okay,
makes sense. Jerry
this
Rice.
the number 6 is 2011 Giants.
OBJ.
Close. That's the next one. OBJ is 7 with the
Oh,
2015
Mario
Giants.
Manningham?
oh yeah.
No, he used to salsa dance.
Oh, Victor
2011.
Cruz,
Oh
dude. Victor
wow.
Cruz came out of
Cruz. Victor
nowhere.
Cruz.
Have you guys seen this?
Okay, if you
Have you guys seen those
Yeah.
clips of Rex Ryan in the preseason talking about Victor Cruz?
Yeah.
Back
Yeah.
when he was like a rookie and like the Jets lit up the Giants in the preseason, or sorry, vice versa. Victor Cruz lit up the Jets in the preseason, and like Rex Ryan on the sideline just talking about how good Victor Cruz, like who is this guy?
I think I saw that or whatever. I think that was the Hard Knocks season, like eight
And then
years
like
ago.
when he shakes the coach's hand at the end of the game, he straight up tells him like, hey, whoever number 12 is, that guy's a baller.
Yeah, that's your best player. Okay, number 8. If you guys get this one, I will be shocked. 2018 Steelers.
Juju Smith.
Yeah, that's
That's
correct. But
nice.
I would have never guessed that. Okay, this one you'll never get in a
No,
million years,
I wouldn't
maybe.
even. I just know that I took Juju his third year after Antonio Brown left, and that was not a good year.
Yeah, I thought everyone was gonna say Antonio Brown, but if you say Antonio Brown, I'm gonna be like, nope, and you're gonna be like, there's no way. Okay, but you got it right. All right, number 9 is 1989 Packers.
89 Packers is the guy that probably caught the ball on the ground. What was his name?
No, that
Uh,
Antonio Freeman's not that old.
Antonio Freeman's like 2006 or something, right? 2005.
Um, his kid plays for Team USA now though in soccer. No, who was Favre's like?
oh,
I can't believe I forgot his name. Number 80,
1990, the
Favre's guy.
The Heisman winner. He took the punt return back. Not Howard, not Desmond Howard. Shoot.
As soon as you say the name, I'm gonna be
God,
mad. I know the
89.
name.
Sterling Sharp.
Okay, no, I was wrong. I did not know the name.
Oh, I wouldn't have got that.
And if you guys
I
get
would not
this
have
one,
got that.
I will concede, I will be very impressed. The number 10 best sophomore season is 2013 Bears. Good luck.
Oh, did we draft anybody on the Bears back in the day?
You're telling me Rex Grossman had produced
I
sophomore
mean, it
wide
can't be Devin
receiver?
Hester because he wasn't a receiver then, right?
It was not Hester.
No.
I
Wow.
had forgotten this player's name existed until I read this list.
I don't think I'm gonna get it.
I mean, if you forgot the
Alshon
player's name,
Jeffrey.
Oh my God, Alshon Jeffrey. Wow. Yes.
All right. So now this leads into we have Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, Rome Odunze, Lad McConkey, Xavier Worthy, Adonai Mitchell, Xavier Legette, Keon Coleman, Jalen McMillan, Malik Washington. Well, those are just some of the top ones. Are there any sophomore wide receivers that you think will be able to have? Uh, don't forget Marvin Harrison Jr. and others. Are you think who is basically your favorite sophomore wide receiver that will have
What can you tell me what the 10th what's the yards for the 10th highest? Like what does it take to crack the top 10?
1475?
Wow, that's actually a lot of yards, 1475. Huh.
Any sophomore wide receiver that you think can make one of these jumps. He had pretty good, like Jalen McGillen had an okay, or Keon Coleman, or Xavier Worthy. Any of these? You think Roma Dunze can make that jump?
hell no. Okay, okay. So Malik Neighbors, I'm gonna say no, just because of the quarterback carousel. I think that's gonna be difficult to deal with, because he's gonna have a different quarterback every week of the season, basically. And then uh, Brian Thomas, I think he had a breakout year. I think he's more likely to take a step back than a step forward.
Agreed.
I I think the biggest candidate to take a step forward is Marvin Harrison Jr. because everyone believes the talent is there, and even I do, right? Like, I don't know if you guys saw that preseason catch he made one-handed yesterday. It was insane. So like, he's good, and even though I don't have faith in his quarterback, like, he is the number one on that team. So I guess he's the one that has the most potential for that because he was so disappointing in year one. He's the one most likely to make a big step up in year two.
Yeah, I agree. I think I wouldn't expect Neighbors and Thomas to have a better per game statistic. I mean, I think with Neighbors, like if you just do what you did last year, you're a top five wide receiver on a points per game basis, right? So, um, I think the person who most realistically has a chance to crack the top 10 list this year is actually Lad McConkey. And so I just think like it's a better offense with a better QB and nobody to take targets away from it.
Yeah, you look at a lot of these names, even Ricky Pearsall, Jalen Coker, Whittington, Leggett. A lot of these guys are going to be. One of these guys is going to jump into the top 10
Yeah, well, I
fantasy
just
wide
think like
receiver.
targets matter, right? So like Brian Thomas got 133 targets. That's a lot of targets. I don't know that he's going to get more than that or replicate that, right? 170 is
Yeah.
insane for Malik Neighbors, right? Like that was the second most targets I
That's
think
just wild, yeah.
behind Jamar Chase. And then you get down to Ladd, who Vinny mentioned is only 112, which is good. By the way, anything over 100 is good, right? But like 112,
Yeah.
that's significantly less than what these other guys had. And then who was I thinking? Marvin Harrison Jr. What only is it 116? Is this no? Yeah, 116. So like, and his catch rate was super low. I think his catch rate's going to go up, which will in turn bring the yards up.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Alex. I think if there's one person who is kind of a boomer bust player in this class, it's Marvin Harrison. Like
And for the record, I'm not
there was
saying that I would necessarily draft Harrison over McConkey, Neighbors, and Brian Thomas Jr. I'm just saying if I had to pick one to make a big step up, because of how well the other three did last year, he's the biggest candidate for a big step up because the other three already balled out last year.
yeah. And it's a well-known statistic. I mean, I'm kind of a Marvin Harrison homer. You guys know this in all my drafts last year.
Yeah, how'd that work
It's
out?
a well-known statistic that the offense did not cater to him very well at all. Like his like go route percentage for a guy who doesn't have like high-end separation on go routes was like crazy usage. Hence his like 63% catch ball or whatever it is. It was like terrible. So
Yeah, what is it? So
yeah,
Brian Thomas didn't catch 46 of the passes thrown his way, whereas Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't catch 54 of the passes
it's
thrown his way, and that was with
yeah,
Brian Thomas getting 25 more targets. Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
and part of that's
But
just
no,
balls
I
not
think it's
being
a
in like
fascinating
in his
question.
area, right? I'm not. It wasn't like it wasn't like everyone's like, oh man, Marvin Harrison had a bunch of drops. Like, no, the balls just weren't in his hemisphere.
Yeah. I think what the most interesting thing is, I mean, we had that draft class with what CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson, and then that's the draft that the Raiders took Ruggs, um, and then Rager. So yeah, I mean, you have those two like studs in the class. This is a really, really good wide receiver class. Like we might be talking like 3 years from now that you're drafting five guys from this class in the top 20 wide receivers, right? Brian Thomas, McConkey, Neighbors, possibly Adunze, possibly Marvin Harrison, possibly Pearsall. Like it's actually a really good wide receiver class for like high end talent.
Dunze had
So
101 targets, so the least targets out of all those guys. But again, pretty poor catch rate. But again, I blame his quarterback.
and then so we're not going to see. So okay, so out of that group, who'd you say had the biggest potential to be a bust? Sorry,
Uh, I don't know. I think Adunze has the highest bust potential, or Brian Thomas, just because he's being valued so high,
because
and
he's
you
being
have to
valued
trust
so
the
high.
Jags offense.
Okay, then who? Yeah, because so he played way too well year one, so we're gonna hold it against him, I guess. Year two, like if he had a little bit lesser of a year one, he'd probably be still being drafted the same as he is year two, right? Because everyone expects an improvement from these year one to year two receivers. I mean, that's just the way the fantasy, I mean, I'm not, it's just the way it kind of works is for some reason when you're these stud wide receivers, you kind of have an okay year one. Some people have amazing year ones like Neighbors and that, but it's, that's only one or two guys a year. Whereas year two wide receivers is where the fantasy value comes from most of the time. So it's like, did Brian Thomas have too good of a year one and we're not giving him enough credit? Or he's built up too much to where he's the biggest bust of this group. And then is
Right.
Marvin Harrison not the biggest one with the biggest upside then? Because he didn't have an outstanding year one. But what if he did have a little bit better year one? Where would he be drafting him now? But it's his rookie year, and we're comparing him to receivers up here that are in their fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth years. So it's very interesting to me to see where these second round wide receivers will be valued by our own fantasy managers. Because I mean, let's be real here. Like, there's gonna be so many people that are gonna be on Lad McConkey or whatever. He might just jump two full rounds ahead. So it's interesting. It's gonna be where you value him, and I think if you guess the correct number two wide receiver, then you're definitely gonna be ahead of everyone else in the draft because there's gonna be a group of these guys. But I might have gotten ahead of myself. That might be more draft analysis. That's just kind of where I was at this week. I was looking at which wide receivers had the biggest potential to increase, and usually it's year two, year three, those guys. So I was just looking at them and thought your guys' opinions, and I got it. Cool.
Alex, I'm starting to realize what Mitch does here. Mitch is like, I have a fantasy theory that I am debating who I'm going to draft in these, and then he gets our opinions, and then he updates his board. He's got his like little scrapbook right there that he's like knocking in. He's like, oh yeah, I
I'm gonna
got
tell
these.
you right now, our big board is definitely disagreeing on Malik Neighbors than what you guys have him at. I'll tell you right
Well,
now.
and I also want to point out, hey, and I hate asking this question, hurts my soul. Don't ask it. Hey, Mitch, remind me who won the fantasy championship last year?
I did.
And you're stealing information from us? Sure, makes sense. Okay,
I get.
moving on. Moving on. That's speaking of wide receivers. You notice Romadunze here, and slightly above him is Michael Pittman. That's right. That's how bad
Wow.
Romadunze was. So just say it.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Um,
I think what scares people off Brian Thomas, I was looking to see if I could find it. He was second in the league behind Jamar Chase only in 40 plus yard plays and had the number one rate at 50 plus yard plays. And I'm not trying to like knock him for being like explosive, um, but yeah, you're almost like, well, can you replicate, 550 plus long touchdowns? He was like a big play guy on, good targets, but not great targets. And you're like, you have to have a really high rate of success, right? Uh, yeah, I'm just trying to see if I can find like air yards. There's guys, air yards per reception is an interesting stat.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I wonder.
Because it's
I
just a
wonder how
whole.
many of Brian Thomas's passes were like within 7 yards. You
and
know what
he
I
just
mean?
broke
Yeah,
it
right.
open.
Do what now?
And he just broke it open,
No,
you're saying, or
I, I
just caught
I
Yeah,
it
like
think
he
in.
I
like
think the
he
opposite.
catches the ball like I want to know how many of these guys are catching the ball close to the line of scrimmage and then making moves, or how many of these guys are just getting deep balls from their guys, right?
Okay.
I mean, that's not on
I'm,
CBS. I'm not worried about it. I'd be interested to know. That's all I'm saying.
Interestingly enough, and not surprising, Amon-Ra Brown has one of the least air yards per receptions. Actually, the only person who's like a starting draftable player below him, there's two, are Chris Godwin and Khalil Shakir.
because those ones are probably just
Have
running
the
straight down the field every play, right?
no opposite. They're just like catching like short passes and
Oh, yeah.
no,
Sorry, that's what yeah. So are you looking at like the A dot or whatever it's called?
yeah. This is just air yards per reception or per reception. So like how many yards do they have? Like are they catching the ball in? So not factoring in yak. Other
Gotcha.
people who actually have really high. So like MVS has a really high air yards per reception at 40, which is not surprising. Then you get Keon Coleman, Calvin Ridley, and I'm just doing draftable players. Amari Cooper, George Pickens, Cortland Sutton, DK Metcalf. Jordan Addison is a little surprising. Mooney, not surprising. Dobbs, McLaurin, Quentin Johnson, Jamison Williams, Drake London, Mike Evans, Tyreek Hill. So maybe Brian Thomas isn't as big of a boomer bust player as I thought he was. This is pretty fascinating, actually. Lad
The
McConkey has a higher air yards per reception than Brian Thomas. Oh no, there's Brian Thomas. Just kidding.
I hadn't really looked
Brian
at those.
Thomas and Drake London are really close.
Gotcha. I usually just look at separate average separation yards, not air yard. I haven't really looked at that yet, or in general. And a lot
And
of
then
these,
Marvin Harrison's is actually really high, which just goes to show they did not use him very well for his like skill set. Like
I
he's a
and
mean,
great
also like,
separator, big
that
body.
catch conversion rate is so abysmal. Like either he was a poor player or the ball wasn't thrown near him. Those are the only two options, right? Like
And we know Mitch's thoughts on that. I mean, he's a
for
big
what?
Kyler Murray fan.
Oh,
you
I'm a big
you can
fan
be
of
a fan of
Sid.
Kyler Murray, the fantasy player, not a fan of the like. It's kind of like what was it in Jalen Hurts, like rookie year, like first two seasons, like excellent fantasy player, terrible quarterback, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
I don't think and again, this is not I'm not saying anything negative about what he did last year. He won a Super Bowl, not knocking last year, but like if you look at his first couple years in the league, great fantasy numbers, terrible quarterback. So like you can be a good fantasy play and not be a good quarterback. You know what I mean? Like there are people that started Danny Dimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I'm
on the
worried.
flip side of that, you can also be a good fantasy quarterback and not necessarily generate offensive potential of your wide receivers. You know, like Josh Allen last year, like you wouldn't have drafted, and like, he was the number one fantasy quarterback, and none of his pass catchers were considered a number one option. Maybe not even a number two option.
I think
When
he
you look
had
at,
Clear Shakir in the average per week, and that's about it. But yeah,
yeah,
I mean, if he ever does find someone he likes, I mean, that's going to be the steal of the draft. I mean, you're basically getting Stephon Diggs' production, but in a prime Josh Allen instead of a 23-year-old Josh Allen, 24-year-old. I mean, if he ever does find a wide receiver, that's the number one steal of the draft. But the problem is he
which is what
doesn't.
everybody thought Keon Coleman was going to be, and
That's exactly right.
unfortunately, the guy's just not that good. So
No, I
I'm a
don't.
big fan.
I really don't think he's that good. It's going to be like an Alan Lazard, someone who's not good, but Josh Allen just likes him. You know what I mean? So it's going to be that guy.
Yeah,
But that's why I drafted Keon Coleman in every single league last year, is because just the upside of taking a wide receiver so late on the Bills is just so worth it. And I think Shakir would have been rostered, but he was hurt way too much. I can't remember, but yeah, ADPs or whatever, or what they were per week or whatever instead of total. Last week we were talking about neighbors and the wide receiver, and I told you guys is he QB proof and all that. And I looked at their schedule because, like, kind of like our bet last year with Cousins, and I told you guys by week 12 or whatever he was going to be benched, and I think it was like week 13 or 14. Look at this schedule and tell me when Russell Wilson is benched and when Dabble is fired. Okay, so the first game of the season they got Commanders. Is that
Well,
a
I will
W
say
or a
before you say
loss?
Dabo fired, like I mean, I will say that the Giants historically do not fire coaches mid-season. They're like known for that.
Okay,
Just saying.
okay,
I'm not saying they won't.
okay.
I'm just saying like that's like something the Giants organization is known for.
Alex,
Sure.
that's some of that piece of that's a piece of info you could have taken into a pie bet and then said that you're pie betting that he will not get fired during the season.
Oh, I would have taken that pie back in a second. Watch the schedule. Listen to the schedule. Just tell me a W or a loss. Giants at Commanders, week one.
Big L.
That's the loss.
Giants at Cowboys, week two.
Hold on, actually, hold on. Who is starting quarterback week one? Is it Russ or is
It's
it
right
James?
now, as of now, he said it was Russ.
Then it's an L.
So I'm the question is becomes at what week do you get to say stop and say Russ is benched, and then at what week do you say stop and Dabble's fired? So week one at Commanders.
Please also include the bye week during
Yeah, I
this.
will.
Or
Week
can you
one
just
at
tell us
Commanders.
what week the bye week is?
Uh, 8th, October 9th. It is between October 9th and October 19th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Week 8 is their bye week.
I
So
put the
week
a
one,
link to the schedule in the chat if you wanted to pull it up, Alex.
yeah, you can pull it up if you want, Alex.
Um, yeah, 1 second.
And I was just doing this because I should have brought this up last week's podcast, more of my argument, but I just wanted to bring it up this week, just like, play like this is how I came up with Penix coming in the Cousins stuff. So it's kind of the same thought process. Here we go. All right, so Giants Commanders September 7th is week one. That's an L. We're all agreeing, an L,
That's an
right?
L. Yeah, it's an L.
Giants Cowboys next week at Cowboys.
Well, that's an L.
Uh, at home against the Chiefs. Wait, do I have this backwards? Is the home team on top?
No, you got it right. You
No,
got it
home
right.
team's
Okay,
on
yeah.
bottom
Home team up.
Yeah, so
historically.
then at home against the Chiefs.
L. 0 and
So
3.
0 and 3. Next week at home or on the road against at home against the Chargers.
0-4 probably.
Next week they might get their okay, so Saints. What do you think there?
W.
Okay, so they might
It's
get their
gonna be
first dub.
close.
The
It's gonna be
Saints, no,
close. They both
they'll beat
might.
the Saints. The Saints
Okay,
are
so
the
one
Saints are
and four.
bad.
1-4. Then they got the Eagles.
Well, no.
Then they got the Broncos.
On the road, no,
And then they got the Eagles.
Negative Ghost
no.
Rider.
And then they got the Niners.
No.
That right there, if Russ and Dabble blast past that point, I will be shocked and you can pie me.
I think Russ gets benched before Dabo gets fired.
For sure, but that might be around the
But
Eagles
I still don't
Giants
think they
game.
go to Jackson Dart until after the bye.
Okay, so after the bye would be against the Eagles. We're setting them up against the championship Eagles. I'd put 1 week after that. I think it's the Niners or the Bears game.
Dang, how do they get so screwed that they get a bye week, but then they play? Whoa, are these dates right? They play
No,
October 5th, October 9th. Then they have a
the
bye and play on the
19th
19th.
and the 26th. They're going to go from the
Oh no, that's
Broncos.
not a bye. That can't be a bye. No, their
Oh, it's
bye
a
is after December 1st. So they
oh
go
wow.
Thursday to Sunday, and then after the Patriots December 1st, there's 2 weeks.
Oh, you're right. I
I was like,
apologize. That's just a 10-day break from, I guess, the Thursday night game. I apologize. But my point is, look at that schedule. The first 9, 10 weeks of that season, that is not just a hard schedule for the Giants. That is a hard schedule, period.
yeah, no, I was gonna say like you're sitting here talking about like when we bench Russ or fire Dable. Like, no offense, but you could give the Giants Jared Goff against those first 10 games, and I don't think I change any of my answers.
Agreed. So this is a dumpster fire, and we're going to be drafting Malik Neighbors with our first overall pick. No thanks.
Well, I mean,
Well,
we'll
someone's
say
going to have
they're gonna be passing
to.
they're gonna be passing a lot. he
Yeah, that is
he
true. But what Russ passing a lot. Okay, cool.
Right.
Then you can have the 3 or 4 weeks Winston comes in, and then he's going to be benched for Dart by the end of the by the bye.
I mean, you
I think
say
the better
that,
question
Mitch,
is
but
over under
hold on,
170
hold on.
targets for Malik Neighbors.
Without Dabble, I just don't believe it.
Mitch, you say that, but last season, even with missing 2 games, Malik Neighbors was wide receiver 8. And by the way, when you miss 2 games, you really miss 3 because you get injured in one of them, right? So, like, he effectively missed 3 games.
Okay,
Was
so is
was
Neighbors
hold
the
on,
greatest?
hold on, let me finish.
Sorry, sorry.
Even with missing 3 games, he was wide receiver 8, and that was with a trash can fire Giants team. It's not like the Giants are like so much worse this season. So, like, if he's wide receiver 8 as a rookie with a dumpster fire of a team after missing games, why couldn't he be that level or better at wide receiver in his second season when he's got more experience with offense, more experience with the coordinator, the coach, more experience in the NFL in general, and presumably will be able to stay healthy. You see what
Uh,
I'm saying?
yeah.
Like it's not like last year. It's not like the Phillip Rivers situation, right? Or like Phillip Rivers was played for the Colts, played decent, then retired, and Pittman fell off a cliff, right? It's not a situation where he had a good QB and that good QB retired and now he has Russ. No, he had a bad QB. That QB got benched. They gave him a worse QB. That QB isn't even going to be on the roster anymore, and now they brought in Russ. So it's not like he had some great gunslinger that was propping him up and now he's got nothing. Like, no, he had no QB and now he has no QB and there's no change.
I agree, but like then I think it comes down. The only way you could become QB proof, in my opinion, is if with a play caller. So like the reason why we think Justin Jefferson is proof is because he's never had not been away from McConnell, and Justin Jefferson is the real deal, like one of the greatest wide receivers of our generation. So either Malik Neighbors is the next Justin Jefferson and is the real deal, completely like heads and shoulders above everyone, or out of how many of those targets did the QB say, I'm not choosing the throw to Neighbors? This is a designed route to Neighbors. Like Dabble has called this play. Neighbors is the only red thing on the piece of paper, only the red route on the piece of paper. Everyone else doesn't even have routes drawn up. I'm exaggerating and joking. But how many plays are called for Neighbors to where the QB goes, this isn't a progression play. This is just me designed for Neighbors, and I just got to get the ball to Neighbors.
Oh,
That's what I'm
I'm sure
worried
there's a
about.
lot. But do you think that's not going to happen come when Jackson Dart becomes a starter. Jackson
Not
Dart, the
without Dable.
rookie.
That's my whole point. Is how many weeks
But it doesn't
does
matter because when Jackson Dart gets in there, he's a rookie. He's not going to go through his progressions. He's going to look for his first read and throw to his top target. Backyard.
so Neighbors is going to be
Hey, I'm going to give you guys
Jekyll
some
and Hyde.
information. Backyard football when
It'd be
it's fourth
terrible
when
for
it's
us.
4th and 1 and we need a completion. I don't always go
Yeah.
through the progressions. I'm like, all right, who's my guy? Who's the best receiver on my team? I'm going to him. I'm going to give
Okay,
him a
then-
chance
then-
to catch the football.
Okay, the Neighbors is the biggest buy low, high sell I've ever. Buy him so low after the first 6 weeks of the seasons when Neighbors is terrible and someone had to spend a high draft pick and is willing to dump him for anyone. Everyone buy Neighbors by week 6 because whenever the worst QBs come in like Winston and Dart, then it's back to Neighbors being great again. Is that what I'm hearing?
So what you're saying then is you believe Russell Wilson to be worse than Danny Dimes. That's what I'm hearing.
For Neighbors having these stats, yes, not for the team overall. Does that make sense?
I'm just saying, because
I
like
don't
if
know
you
how
look
to
at last year, right, you said first 6 games, 6, 18, 19, 11, then he got hurt, right? So like in 3 of his first 4 games, he was in double-digit fantasy points.
Yeah, I don't know if Danny Dimes is trying to win games and go through progressions. I think he might just be thrown at the Neighbors.
Well, Danny Dimes didn't even
I
throw
don't
him the ball,
know.
he's just running. Danny Dimes is just running the
That's
ball.
true, too. I don't know. That's why he's so hard for me to analyze. And it's like we only have one sample size, and that sample size is just so impressive. I don't know how to realistically. If I just started, let's say we were in high school, Alex, and we were sophomores, juniors, or whatever, and we were just starting fantasy, I'd be like, Neighbors, Neighbors, Neighbors is the greatest, Neighbors is the greatest. But after like 20 years of doing this, it's so far above other. I mean, he's in there as one of the best rookie seasons ever as a wide receiver, and it's like it's so hard to analyze. There's nothing to compare me to. Like, how did some other wide receivers do after having 100 and that many targets is hard to comprehend. And now you're going to have a new offensive coordinator, a new QB, guaranteed a new QB, probably a new offensive coordinator halfway through the season. And you want me to spend my 12th, 13th, 14th pick? So, anyways, we got a little off topic because Vinny was like, hey, he's asking us about these wide receivers and putting it. But I promise you right now, Vinny, some of these wide receivers are not where you think they are. I try to be a good host too. So,
Uh,
no, I
as he says,
don't see it. I
yeah,
could be
you know
wrong.
what you know what the strategy is here, Alex. He's talking us all off Neighbors, and he's gonna draft Neighbors like first pick of the second round. And we're gonna be like, "Whoa, dude! I thought you didn't want Neighbors." It's okay, Mitch. We
Uh,
get you.
I like being right too much. So when it comes to like week 10 or whatever, and Neighbors is struggling on 14, 15 targets a game with 5 receptions, or I'm going to be dead wrong and Jameis Winston comes in earlier and Neighbors is the #1 fantasy player.
All
So
right, let's
whatever.
talk a little more NFL news. We'll keep it with wide receiver. What do you guys think about holdouts? There's a couple of big holdouts that did report to camp but are not practicing, right? So there's well, I'll do the wide receiver second. But so first there is Hendrickson with the Bengals. He is reported to practice. For those who don't know, he's led the NFL in sacks last 2 years in a row. Bengals won't pay him. So he did report to training camp, but he's not practicing. The other person who's reported to training camp that is more fantasy relevant is Terry McLaurin. He's on the last year of his contract, due $18 million, which seems pretty good. Last year was his best season because he had a real quarterback for once, and he is not practicing. So what do you guys think of that? Do you think? I mean, the fact that he reported is obviously a good sign, but how much do you think the not practicing is going to hurt him, or will it? I mean, he's a veteran and he plays wide receiver. It's not like some other positions where you really need to feel the hits in the game. I mean, wide receivers, their job is to not get.
Which wide receiver did you
So-
say? I apologize.
Terry McLaurin?
Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, McLaurin. Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
I have a lot of thoughts on that.
So do I.
So, okay, here's my problem. He wants to be paid more than DK, which I get. I actually think McLaurin is probably a better wide receiver than DK. But dude, the guy's making 18 million. He's not that good. Like, you had one good year. Yes, he's like a good wide receiver. I don't know if he's like a good enough wide receiver to hold out. And what is he holding out after? He's holding out after 1,100 yards and 13 touchdowns. Like, dude, you had 82 catches for 1,100 yards. Like, what is the holdout for? I just don't. I don't see it. Like, I know he was in a good offense and he was the best wide receiver on that team. I just don't see him being a guy that like deserves a fat contract. And I think he's just trying to get his while he can. He's old. If I'm the Commanders, I don't pay him because I just don't see a reason to. I really don't. Maybe you give him a slight bump, but I'm not giving him $35 million a year. That's for sure.
He is currently 16th best paid wide receiver, right?
I mean, if that's what he is, then he for sure doesn't need a raise. He's
Yeah,
not
he's
the 16th
well.
best wide receiver in the league.
Can
Well,
I
no,
tell you what
last year he was
15
fifth.
is? Well, it says I'm reading right here on Over the
Fantasy,
Cap.
fantasy wise, though, Alex, but like he had 13 touchdowns, like 1,100 yards and 13
No, but
touchdowns. Like,
I will say in his defense, I do think he's a better player than like he has been statistically, just because he hasn't. Mitch said earlier, no one's QB proof. Well, he's never had a QB until last year, and the first time he had a real QB, he got in the end zone 13 times.
Yeah, that is a good point. He's the opposite. He's gonna be Neighbors, and Neighbors is gonna be McLaurin in 5 years. Just please, someone throw me the ball. So Alex, I apologize. 16th, I meant as in overall paid, not fantasy wise. He was much better fantasy wise. Overall paid, he's at 23.2 this upcoming year on over according to Over the Cap. And guess what? Who's number 15 and 14? Number 14 is a guy who's on the Commanders who has never played one snap for the Commanders.
Debo.
Debo. So this guy just joined your team and he's getting paid more than you. And then the other one ahead of him is Michael Pittman Jr. of the Colts. So if I were McLaurin, I'd be like, "What's up?" I know I'm the
Yeah.
16th highest paid, but look who. And then above him, you've got. I mean, tell me out of all these guys, who deserves not to be paid more than McLaurin? Like, not like should be lower than McLaurin. Nico Collins, he's being paid
No,
more. Devontae Smith.
no.
DJ Moore, Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, Brandon Ayuk, Tyreek Hill, and then all the rest are going to be super obvious, like Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Oh, Metcalf is up there. Jeez, I didn't even realize that. AJ Brown, Amon Ra. So above those, I don't really know if he deserves much more money. So that one's tough, but at the same time, if I were McLaurin, I ask for what you can get. And when your team's gone out, and how many offseason acquisitions has the Commanders made this offseason? Like a ton, including like Von Miller. So like, um, and even the acquisition they made halfway through the season last year, getting Lattimore and all that. So it's like, I think McLaurin has grounds to stand here and be like, hey, you're paying everyone else. You can bump me up an extra 4, 5, 6 or whatever and put me up there with Brandon Ayuk and T. Higgins at least and Jalen Waddle. I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
The
but the
others,
reports are that he wants DK money. He
yeah,
wants
that'll put you
more
in the
than
top.
DK.
Okay, well, that'll put you in the top five. So that's not worth it. So you guys somewhere in the middle, the negotiation, right? Maybe he's going a little bit high, and then you meet somewhere in the middle, and you'll settle around somewhere around Tyreek Hill, Brandon Ayuk, and T. Higgins. That's what I'm hoping is going on. So I'm all okay with everything going on there and McLaurin making that decision. What bothers me is the other situation. That one actually personally grinds my gears and like where it bleeds past just professional sports and like irks underneath my skin. This is a 90-year-old owner in Brown. Is it Mike Brown or Arthur Brown? I forget his name. Um, who inherited the team from his father. So he got this team from his father and is 90 years old right now, and he's telling Hendrickson to not be emotional about the contract negotiation. You've had money your whole life. You got given a pro sports franchise team. He's in there at the age Hendricks is at is he's not getting another deal. He's never going to have this much power in his life again, bargaining power. Whatever, however you want to call it, like just the professional prestige. He's never going to be in this position again in his life. Let him be emotional if he wants to. For you to be a 90-year-old NFL owner who was given the team by your father to come in and tell you that one player who's been an all-pro for you for the last 10 years and has outperformed his contract is too emotional, dude, that gets me. Pay the guy and move on.
Okay, so
So like,
I'm gonna interject here. I agree with you.
yeah.
I'm always gonna be player first. Now I do agree there is some amount of like you signed a contract you should just play, but on the flip side of that coin is rookie deals they don't really have a choice in, and for non-rookie deals the team can cut you if you don't live up to your contract. So how come you can't renegotiate for a better deal if you do live up to your contract? So it's not as cut and dry as it seems. However, the question I asked you guys wasn't whether or not you think holdouts are cool. It was how much do you think this will affect McLaurin's fantasy value and production in the season? Because like some guys need to practice in order to get up to game speed. Quarterbacks specifically, right? Quarterbacks who hold out historically have been terrible the first few weeks of the season to get back into it. Whereas a guy like a wide receiver, you're just running the route and you just need to be fast, and your job is to avoid getting hit. It's not like if you're a linebacker, you need to practice taking hits, giving hits, making tackles, what have you. If you're an offensive lineman, you need to feel that weight of hitting someone, being hit, pushing people around. So like, how much do you think the holdout is going to affect Terry McLaurin on the field value from a fantasy standpoint?
Okay, so I'll just give you specific examples then. In 2024, these wide receivers skipped OTAs and were in contract disputes. T. Higgins, how did he do last year?
He did pretty good.
Not great at
Jamar
the beginning.
Chase. How well did Jamar Chase do last year?
Let me see. If I sort by most points, he's way ahead of everyone else.
AJ Brown.
The
Calvin
games he
Ridley?
played, he was good. And that's kind of the
Calvin
same for
Ridley?
Higgins, by the way. The games he played, he was good.
Calvin Ridley's another one.
Calvin Ridley was bad.
Amon St. Brown.
He was
He
fantastic.
missed voluntary OTAs and got a bump in his contract.
Although he did, admittedly, he was a step back from the previous season.
Agreed, actually. And then the last two are probably not going to work for the argument, but CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Ayuk were the other two.
Ayuk was miserable, but he also tore his ACL super early in the season, and
So
CeeDee
that
Lamb
affected
lost
his
his
play, though.
quarterback and still played well. So.
CD did not have a great start to the season. I want to say his first couple games were pretty mediocre. They actually put him on a snap count, I think, the first game, because didn't he report right before the first game?
So I guess the answer to your question then would be maybe the first couple games, McLaurin might have a slow start, but then he'll be back to McLaurin. That offense still has Kingsbury. That offense still has Jaden McDaniels. Their offensive line got actually better with the Thuney from the Chiefs, the 8-year All-Pro guy. No, there's just too much. Yeah, so yeah, you're right. He might have a slow start, and that might put him at like fantasy number 5, 6, or 7 instead of maybe 1, 2, or 3 because of his slow start. Sure, but I don't see any problem with McLaurin, to be honest. And it's like Vinny said, it's probably going to only be the difference of it's not going to be like a huge contract where he's going to sit out, actually threaten any actual real time of sitting out. So I think McLaurin's fine.
It would be an interesting. It's kind of like the Ayuk holdout. Like those are just interesting holdouts for players that really aren't that good. And I would argue that Ayuk's 2023 was better than any of McLaurin's seasons.
Maybe, yeah.
Didn't Ayuk go off in 2023?
Yeah, definitely. And then he flopped last year. And here's the funny thing: Ayuk had $101,000 worth of fines last year for holding out. So his really hurt him.
Yeah, let's see. In 2023, Ayuk had 75 catches for 1,300 yards and 7 touchdowns.
1,300 yards,
another-
no joke. Yeah.
Off another, 80 catches for 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. So like his 13, it was like 1345. So let's see what McLaurin's best year is. I think McLaurin kind of his best year was like his rookie year or sophomore year. Let's see his stats really quick.
Yeah, Alex, I guess the answer to your question is the holdout, I guess, is very much so case by case. And I can't give a blanket statement to, oh, the holdouts are fine or not fine or will affect or not affect fantasy. I guess it's very much so. One thing I will say is don't overlook if they don't play in the preseason, someone like Christian McCaffrey. Like, I think the days are gone of like sitting all your starters completely in the preseason, like the LT days and the Priest Holmes days. Those are way, way, way gone. So if your player actually doesn't play at all in the preseason, that's a huge red flag. So hopefully McCourt just gets in the next couple weeks and everything's great.
So here's a fun fact. McLaurin's 17 game average across his career is 80.6 catches for 1,118 yards and 6.7 touchdowns. He had 82 catches for 1,096 and 13 touchdowns last year. So his catches were about even, his yards were a little bit less, his touchdowns were much higher. So it's weird that he's holding out at 29 going on 30 years old to be paid more for like meeting his career average.
It's a weird hold. I almost wonder, to be honest with you, I wonder if it's not about the money as much as it's about the time left on his deal. Like, you have a rookie quarterback come out, you're his number one, you ball out for him, you kind of think that the team is going to do right by you. Because if you look at, like, catch rate, right, I've been talking about that a lot today, this was the least targets he's had since his rookie year. and it was the most catches he's ever had since like 2020. So like his catch rate was very high this past season, and his yardage was there. His end zone, his red zone production was obviously great, which I think a part of that's just their offense was a lot better. So I think more of it's just he feels like he should be rewarded with a longer term deal and not have to play on the final year of his deal, because then he's going to be, if he has to play this year with only 1 year left, he's going to have to coming off an injury, by the way, and play out his last year, then be a 30-year-old without a contract. And I think that's what he's worried about.
I completely understand that. I just think it's crazy. Like, I think I agree 100% that he deserves a new contract. I can't sit here and say that he deserves a $30 million plus contract. Like, that to me is a little crazy. Like, unless that's just not what he's asking. But yeah, I mean, he deserves a new contract. Like, he's their best player. I think Mitch brought up a good point earlier. I think he saw how much talent they've added and that they're really trying to go for it. And his agent was like, hey, you deserve a new contract. We all agree. And we're going to ask for the freaking moon because they can't lose you because they're trying to win a Super Bowl this year.
That's exactly
right.
So you ask for as high as you can. I like how he's also like asking for Metcalf money, but not asking for like AJ Brown, Amon-Ra, or Lamb money, which is the same thing as Metcalf money. I like how he's singling out Metcalf because he knows he's beaten Metcalf stats, but he hasn't beaten the other guy's stats. It's really well orchestrated, I think, by McLaurin. And you're right. I think that's right. They're just gonna give him an extra bump and maybe a year or two. We'll see.
I can't believe that the Steelers gave DK Metcalf the contract they did. That's just like,
the Steelers never even pay mid-market value for their own players. Like, you have to be below market value for them to sign you. They never sign market value players, and they went out and signed above market value wide receiver DK Metcalf.
Okay, so this is a question I've been wanting to ask you guys, specifically Mitch, and I want you to be brutally honest with these answers, okay? Like,
oh, is it Rodgers?
It's going somewhere, but I want you to be honest with the answers, okay?
Okay.
Like, be legit. Okay. Who do you think has more talent on the offensive side of the ball? Not how they actually produced or will produce, but more talent on the offensive side of the ball. The last year's Jets or this year's Steelers?
Last year's Jets or this year's Steelers? That's not close.
More talent on the offensive side of the ball.
Can we like take out their offensive lines to make this more fair?
I just want you to be honest. Who do you think has better talent? Okay. But sure,
including the offensive line, it's the Steelers, and it's not even close. If you take out the offensive lines, it gets a little bit more close for me.
More close?
What are you talking? See, I knew Mitch wouldn't give a real answer here. Like, I'm sorry, but you're telling me that Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, and Breece Hall is close to DK Metcalf, nobody and nobody?
Pickens
in there anymore.
Pickens is on the Cowboys.
No, but you're using Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams was there last year. I'm saying last year's Jets versus this year's Steelers.
Yeah, last year's Jets versus this year's Steelers. So Rodgers cancels each other's out.
Right, yeah. So Rodgers is a wash. So I'm talking about last year's Jets had Breece Hall at running back. They had Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams at wide receiver.
Freiermuth is probably better than Lazard, and the third Reynolds was the wide receiver last year for the third one. And what is it? Who was the second wide receiver? Warren and Najee might be better.
Najee's not there anymore either.
No, that's
Warren.
I thought you were doing
Warren and a rookie. Warren and a rookie, and then you got DK.
So that's what I'm saying. You can't even name the players, Mitch. You really going to tell me that you think the Steelers' offense this year is better than what the Jets had last year when you can't even name the players?
The same reason I will pull up the podcast. I can name you the offensive line, and I even said, quote unquote, the Jets went out and band-aid that offensive line. If they can keep that offensive line healthy, then Rodgers is fine. Rodgers doesn't need position skill players. Rodgers needs a line that can hold him up because he's 41 years old.
I mean, we saw what Rodgers in Green Bay was like with bad position skill players. But anyway,
he won 2 MVPs with bad
question.
Position skill players. Wait, time out. I'm a little biased, but the man won back-to-back MVPs at 37 and 38 years old. That is insane. His wide receivers...
I haven't even gotten to the Rodgers part of the question. I'm just asking who do you think was better offensively, and the fact that you think it's the Steelers is just wild.
I think it comes down to
a little bias is the understatement of the century.
You even
No,
said
but-
after you take out the offensive lines, and you still thought it was close. Like, come on, man.
No, but that's because I thought we were including Pickens. I apologize. I thought
No,
we were
he's
doing
not on the
last year's
team.
Steelers versus last year's. Okay, I misheard. I think you said last year's Steelers versus last year's Jets. But if you're doing this year's
Steelers versus last year's Jets.
Okay, so what's the difference between Wilson and Metcalf?
I think that they're fairly comparable. If anything, I think Wilson's much better wide receiver.
Okay, so then what's the difference between Pat Fryermuth and any other
I think
player
Devontae
on the
Adams
Jets?
is better than Pat Fryermuth.
So that's
And I think
the
Brees
only
Hall is
kicker.
better than anything the Steelers have in the backfield. But anyway, let
That's
me go to the next part of the question. So the
Brees
next
Hall
part,
is not
next part of the
even
question is
there in the backfield.
is
and you need a
defense.
line.
Next part of the question is defense. Who had a better defense, last year's Jets or this year's Steelers?
It's not even close if you compare this one. The Steelers.
What? Last year's Jets defensively were amazing. I'm talking talent on the field, not actual production, but talent on the field. Like going into the season last year, everyone thought the Jets had like the best defense in the league.
Yo, I'm not even going to entertain the argument that a Steelers defense with Mike Tomlin has ever been worse than the Jets defense. Like until you go all the way back to Rex Ryan. That's how far you have to go back. Like I'm not even offense is a fun debate, and I'll have fun with you guys without the offensive line because I think that's the only difference that matters. Is you can go put the worst skilled positions around Rodgers, and if that offensive line improves, it's a better situation. So I'm having fun with you guys there. But defensively, the Steelers have league MVPs. They just traded Mika Fitzpatrick back to the Dolphins for like the number one corner in the league for the last 10 years and Super Bowl winner. Like the actual talent on that Steelers defense is not even comparable. The Jets have two good defensive players. One of the Sauce Gardner and the big boy up front. What's his name? That's about it. They have all rookie linebackers. They have all rookie secondaries. And that Steelers defense is a bunch of highly talented players. That Steelers defense... Let's put it this way. There are only 4 teams in the NFL that pay their defense more than their offense. If you add up all the salary of the offense...
That's because there's no one any good on offense, but you still thought the Steelers had a better offense than the Jets. Anyway,
that doesn't help my argument earlier. But
it doesn't.
It doesn't
Doesn't at all.
show that all that money is on that Steelers defense. The Steelers have historically paid the highest amount of money towards their defense for the last 6 years in a row. I don't even know for a fact. It could be longer, but I haven't actually done the research.
Next question, and if you devil's advocate this one, I'm just done. I'm done talking to you for the day. I want you to give an honest answer. Easier division, the Jets division last year or the Steelers division this year? So help me God, if you say it's the Steelers division, you're off the podcast.
Okay, the Jets division's easier, but what's the out of conference schedule here? I don't know.
No, we're not doing that. So
Okay,
given
that
all
one I'll
that,
give
now
you.
obviously I think your defensive answer, fine, I'll allow it. Your offensive answer is supremely biased. And then the schedule,
Allow it.
the schedule, however, very clearly favors the Jets. So my question to you is, given that he was
Alex
in,
saying to leave bias out of it and then allowing Mitch's arguments.
Allowing my bias.
dude, Vinny, I want you, because you're the mediator here. Tell me which offense had more talent, last year's Jets or this year's Steelers?
Dude, it's not even close.
It's not even close,
like
is
when
it?
You guys,
No, it's not even
I'm not
close.
So
even
anyway,
joking
so my
around.
question
Are you
now
talking about
becomes.
not even
Hold on, let me
close,
ask the question, then you can
including
rant. Let me
offensive
ask the
line or
question. My
I need to
question
know if
becomes.
it's not even close offensive line or not.
My question
I
becomes.
don't,
If
I don't think
if the
Steelers'
offense was
line is
better
as good as they used
and the
to be.
division was easier, what makes you think that Aaron Rodgers will be successful this year when he wasn't last year? Now that he's in a harder division with a worse offense.
Well, if you want to get into the biasness, everyone says the Commanders are going to regress this year because they won like 6 games by 3 points or lower or whatever in the last minute. The Jets historically lost.
Okay, well the Commanders in the
7
NFC.
games.
We're talking 2 AFC teams, so go on.
No, I'm just saying to take the same logic. The Jets historically lost the most amount of games since like 1980. I forget the stat. I'll have to find it.
Oh,
But
look,
they lost
the Jets
most amount
suck and the
of close
Steelers
games.
never do. I get that. Like I understand that point. Sure, I'll give you that.
But
The
there's
Jets
gotta
have
be
the 7th easiest schedule, and the Steelers have the 10th hardest. And to piggyback off an argument from earlier, the Giants have the hardest schedule in the NFL this year.
That's what I was trying to point out. I didn't even realize that till last week after the pod. I got off and I was looking at that, like, oh, for next week, because I was teasing you guys with the Malik Neighbors pie bet. So I was like, okay, I got to look at the weeks or whatever, and then I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh dear Lord, the Giants are going to be 0-9 easily, maybe 1-10 against the Saints. That's their only chance in the first. So yeah. I would. The Giants having a tough schedule is wild. That sucks. But going back to this one, I want Vinny to say on the podcast realistically, including the offensive line, you think the Jets had a better offense last year than the Steelers have this year, including the offensive line?
I think that makes it closer where the Steelers make some ground up, but I still think the Jets were a better team offensively. I do.
Yikes. We are far apart on this one then.
Easiest strength of schedule for the 2025 season. Does anybody have a guess? I will give you a hint. It is stock full of fantasy relevant players. And it has to
Easiest
be
schedule?
somewhat of a. Yeah, and typically the easiest schedules are our worst teams in the previous season.
I was going to say
So
like the
who
Texans.
has.
Panthers?
No,
The Panthers are on
the
fantasy
Panthers are
relevant.
down there. The Texans are in the middle. The San Francisco 49ers have the easiest strength of schedule according to win percentage
I can see
for
that.
2025.
Yeah, they got to give Purdy some low hanging fruit there with that contract. So they don't look bad.
Christian McCaffrey season loading.
I honestly think that speaks more for Purdy than McCaffrey, but yeah.
All right, Mitch, I have a question for you. Do you think the
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers-led Steelers make the playoffs?
Yo, the AFC's wildly tough. They made it last year without him.
Right. So,
Uh,
and your logic states that they'll be better with him. So, do you think they'll make the playoffs with Rodgers? This is a guy who couldn't even throw for 4,000 yards last year, which we've established if you're under 4K, you're bad.
He doesn't need to be bad though. He just needs to be better than Russ and Fields.
You're right. He doesn't need to be bad. He needs to be good.
He needs to be better than Russ and Fields. So if that still makes you bad or whatever, then you just got to be whatever that category of QB.
I just want
player.
to point out all of your Rodgers love. When I ask, are the Steelers going to make the playoffs with Rodgers, even though they made it last year without him, you haven't said yes yet. You're stalling.
That's because the AFC is wildly tough in my opinion. But I'm going to say that the Steelers will make the playoffs.
You want to put a pie on it?
Okay.
No.
Oh. Hey,
But
while
is-
we're
but
talking
is it
about
really
Aaron
that,
Rodgers,
come on, time out. But is it really that far fetched to say a playoff team from last year with basically the same roster moves on from a quarterback that was paid to leave Denver, like $102 million to leave? That offensive coordinator the next year with a rookie QB named Bo Nix sets the league on fire and goes up. That QB is being replaced in Pittsburgh with Aaron Rodgers, who's going into Pittsburgh. You don't think there's a bump at all? Like everyone who leaves, who
Well,
ends up
obviously
with
But
you
you
don't,
don't.
'cause you
But
didn't put a
Mitch, you
pie
don't
bet on
because
it.
you're not convinced they're going to make the playoffs, and they made the playoffs last year with Russ.
Well, they could have the same wins and not make the playoffs. That's what I'm worried about. Because they only got in with 10 wins, right? Or Steelers record 2024. Yeah, they're 10-7. So I think they could be 10
So you,
and 7.
you think you think that with that bump that they're not an 11-win team and 11
They
and
could
6
be a-
is not making the playoffs?
No, because the Bengals were 9-8, and there's a lot of other teams that could step up. Making the playoffs is a little bit different than 10 wins, in my opinion.
Right,
They're
but
roughly-
but
yeah.
but if they only get 10 wins, isn't that that's the same as what they had last year? So that's not a bump at all. He's the equivalent of
Yeah.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I don't
And
know how
Justin
they
Fields,
won.
which is crazy.
I don't know how they won 10 games with those guys. So that's what I'm saying. Next year, if they go out,
Well, that's
and
Mike
have,
Tomlin
like-
for you. He doesn't lose.
Okay, well then, if they go out and Rodgers historically doesn't lose unless he's on the Jets, so I'm just kidding. But I'm just saying, like, is if they have a worse season, sure, but I don't know if that's going to be Rodgers' fault. That's what I'm trying to say.
You're already
there.
making excuses for him. The season hasn't even started yet.
No, I'm just saying.
Okay, here.
I'm making the comparison that at the line of scrimmage, who's going to call a better play and who's going to throw a better pass, Russ Wilson or Aaron Rodgers?
Well, I don't think
even
Russ is
that's
calling the plays.
debatable. And everywhere, yeah, but that's the difference. Is Rodgers is going to get to go to the line with a set of 5 plays, and he's going to get the pick.
Yeah,
That's
the problem
Rodgers
with
offense.
the Rodgers play calling for the last 5 years has been checked down to the running back, and now they don't have one.
Yeah, but they could go to the playoffs by checking down to the running back almost.
Yeah, because they had good running backs.
Yeah.
Free Aaron Jones.
Yeah, free Aaron Jones, who just got bent. Okay, anyways, my point, the only thing I'm trying to say is everywhere Russ goes, that place is worse off, and then when Russ leaves, that place is better off. So why couldn't the Steelers be better off with the same play colors, same everything, same like all that kind of stuff, so, like the Broncos did last year?
I'm
They
not
got
saying
rid of
I'm not
Russ.
saying they can't. I was offering you a pie bet and you turned it down.
That's true. I will refuse the pie bet on this one. I'll save it for something a little bit more spicy. Like I have a feeling I'm going to make a neighbor's pie bet coming up here soon.
Okay,
And
I have another hypothetical for
I don't
Mitch
want to
and
do
Aaron
any
Rodgers.
July pie bets. We'll wait for August pie bets. That's my excuse.
Mitch, if Aaron Rodgers was your teammate
Yeah.
and you were Christian Wilkins, how freaky would you get?
That would be an interesting. How do the defensive players sit next to the offensive players in the locker room? Because I would make an exception that would allow them to. I mean, first of all, I don't know how that would change the locker room
Mitch would repeat the Christian Wilkins Josh Allen on a daily basis with
for
Aaron
sure.
Rodgers as his teammate.
The best thing I read was the Eagles are offering the rest of their cap space for Christian Wilkinson.
By the way, I just
No
want to
one's
make sure
gonna
that
want to. No one's gonna want to defend the tush push.
Coach pushed me in for the tush push. It's my favorite.
He has a
He's-
$40
that's-
million contract just for the tush push.
Listen,
When it's-
especially after Shane Gillis's presentation of the tush push, like Christian Wilkins is all in on being an Eagle.
and when it's time for the midge pitch, he volunteers and wants to grab him in a certain area to throw him.
Do not
By the way,
Christian
for everyone
Wilkinson.
listening, I just want everyone to know there was no welshing done on pie bets. The issue was Vinny had to buy us in the face and he didn't show up to the Super Bowl party. So assuming he shows up this year, I will pay off the bets that I owe from last year. Just for clarity.
And it's not even about owning it, Alex. It's like all of our bets were kind of like right on the line. It was like it wasn't like one of
Well,
us.
that's what makes them good. But I just want to point out, like,
Yeah.
I don't want people to think like, oh, these bets don't mean anything. They did. I was fully prepared to get pied in the
Oh,
face. I
yeah.
even bought the stuff for it, but Vinny wasn't there, and I didn't
My
want
Super
to
Bowl
pie
was
my.
so exciting. I was just trying to figure out what I even did for it, and I like watched it the first half with like work staff, and then the rest of it like in a microtel where like literally my TV was next to my twin bed.
I just didn't think me
So-
pieing myself in the face would be nearly as entertaining as like waiting and to do it so that someone could actually pie me in the face. So
But they carry over, right? So like I still owe people pies. Like
that's what I'm saying. I still fully intend to
is
pay
it
off the bets
is
from last
it
year.
rollover minutes?
Yeah, yeah.
Over pie.
Can you hear me now?
Rollover pie. Yeah. Since
The
we have
pie
like 10
is-
minutes left, I wanted to go over some stuff.
Okay,
Wait, can I ask a quick question, real quick?
sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of, because the Cousins pie bet made me think of this. Do you guys think, and this could be like one sentence answer and not the end, because I legit have only like 20 minutes left and I'm gonna sign off. Do you think the Falcons hold Cousins this whole year or they trade him?
I think that there's an interesting scenario where if Matt Stafford truly isn't healthy, does Cousins go to the Rams? I don't know.
Right. So what I'm
I don't know.
trying to say,
I can't see them having a $160 million backup quarterback. Like it just does not make sense to me. They somehow pawned off Matt Ryan at like $50 million a year to somebody. The fact that they haven't traded him yet tells me the league just doesn't want him, which is kind of sad. But somebody will get desperate enough, I think, to trade for Kirk Cousins.
but that's what I'm saying is like if Kirk Cousins, as much as I had fun with him over the years, he does create fantasy relevant players, right? So like let's just say Kirk Cousins goes to the Jets. What does that do for what's the wide receiver? What's his name?
I think it's a huge bump to Garrett Wilson and to Brees Hall because it takes 8 out of the box.
So Cousins going to a team could be a fantasy decider for us realistically this year.
I mean, look
And
at
it could
Or
be
if there's
potentially-
if there's an injury, like I just don't understand how like that doesn't happen. Also,
But that's my
the
point.
one
Someone
thing
like
that
Cousins
was
look at
should
Bijan
be
Robinson, right?
available.
Like, let's look at his stats real fast. So, like, this is the effect he had on a running back, right? Like, so Bijan Robinson with Cousins there, his production went up, right? His yards per carry went up. He got a lot more, balls. He caught more balls. Like, may have had more targets the year before, but he had more catches because they were actually thrown in his general direction. So, like, his production went up. Now, part of it is he also got more carries. I get that, but like, it wasn't all Cousins. But I'm saying Cousins made it easier for him in the running game because this is what is important. The yards per carry went up. He had less guys in the box up against him, and then obviously we saw what he did for Drake London. Drake London's now a top 10 fantasy running or fantasy wide receiver.
Drake London's being talked about as a top
What
10
is he?
pick.
He was number
like-
6.
This is what I'm worried about. I'm just gonna straight it clear as day. Is we're gonna have our draft, and then a week later, Cousin goes to the Dolphins.
And then all of a sudden, Tyreek
interesting.
Hill is relevant again.
All of a sudden, Tyreek Hill is the world beater again. So it's gonna be something like that.
So,
or he goes to the Jets.
so does that mean
Wilson's
you're
a
now
world
on Team Alejandro with Tyreek Hill as washed?
No. I'm just on the side that someone like Kirk Cousins' level of talent shouldn't be available to a lot of teams before the season starts. Someone like Cousins is usually locked into a starting role or whatever. You don't pay $180 million to someone to sit on the backup. That person either gets traded or he starts. There is no backup role for that.
No,
position.
I think you've hit the nail on the head, Mitch. I think the Falcons are waiting until they can get value for him. If they let him go right now, they're not going to get enough for him. Whereas if they wait until mid-season when there is a team that's a contender that could use a quarterback,
Yeah.
or a team that has decided to give some guy another year, and then like the Colts, for example, right? I think the Colts are a good example. When the Colts realize that Danny Dimes isn't it and Anthony Richardson isn't it, they might be like, hey, we're good enough if we get Cousins that we can make a run. We're in a weak division.
So barring injury,
Yeah.
Barring injury, like, so say like Josh Allen goes down, heaven forbid, or something like that. Barring injury, the realistic teams are Jets, Dolphins, Browns, Colts, and
Yeah, but it has to be a team that's being somewhat successful. Like they're not gonna like do it if they're already 0-4. They'll just punt it. To
Okay,
the
so
next
there's
year.
realistically like 2 teams barring any injury. So basically,
I think
this
Dolphins,
is tough.
Colts are the two front runners to me. I would say,
interesting.
I think the Rams are an interesting scenario.
and the
if
Rams. Yeah,
Stafford
sorry,
goes
Dolphins,
down.
Colts, Rams.
Okay, but the
Or
Rams
like,
don't
what
take-
about a team? What about a team? Let's get crazy with it. Like, what about a team like Detroit or Green Bay that don't really have a good backup quarterback in their system?
I think
this is-
well, the whole thing is like the Falcons.
like-
the Falcons are
Or
waiting for
season.
someone who's going to give them enough to make the move, and I don't think a team,
Yeah.
I don't think a team that already has a set quarterback who's just going to have to punt one season is going to be willing to mortgage the future to do it, right? Like if you believe that Jordan Love is your future, right? If he goes down week 6, you're not gonna like mortgage your future by giving up multiple draft picks and a lot of cap space for Kirk Cousins. Whereas if you're the Dolphins and Tua goes down with another concussion, you know he's just done. You might be willing to go and get a Kirk Cousins because you can compete this year and maybe the next couple because Tua's not the guy, right? Or if you're the
exactly,
Colts
yeah.
and you're like, hey, Anthony Richardson's just
Exactly.
not it. Danny
Yeah,
Dimes is
exactly.
now on a second team. He's not it. Let's go get Cousins. We did this before with Phillip Rivers and we made a run. Let's do it.
We even
with
did it
this
with
guy.
Flacco and did well.
Yeah.
We did it with both of them, yeah. I think they even tried Matt Ryan, too.
They
But
did.
yeah,
They tried
so,
Matty Ice, yeah.
so I agree. So that's what I'm wondering is like, anyways, all right, so I took up, all right, let's go do what you were going to say.
No, you're good.
That's just food for thought
The
next
one
time.
thing that's kind of eye opening. I don't know, like Mitch, you watch quarterback. Like it's crazy to think that like his downfall in production last year, like he like knew that he was hurt and couldn't throw
Yeah.
the ball at the same capacity.
Right.
So it's an interesting like aspect where he stayed in to not lose his job, which he ended up doing it anyway. But
Sounds like someone else we know.
Kirk may still have it was kind of like the takeaway that I got. Like I went into this year thinking, oh, he doesn't have it anymore. But like watching him like play injured, I was like, he might not get it.
It's the same injury as someone else that we were talking about that I'm extremely biased for. Same amount of time since the injury, same amount of time since the surgery. And
And the guy you're
one
talking about
guy-
didn't have any 500-yard 4 TDs games last year like Cousins
He
did.
did not play, and against the one of the best defensive coordinators in the league too. I cannot believe that they hyped him up so much. Kyle Shanahan has 6 books on Raheem Morris or whatever his name is. He's one of the best defensive coordinators ever. Cousins hasn't thrown from like more than 250 yards all season. Goes out and throws like 500 yards in back-to-back games on them. That bothered me so much in the thing. But anyways, that's the fun part. Is like this season. As much as I said to you guys last year, that I told you guys Cousins will be benched, Penix will be starting by this season, and you guys are like, no way. I'm gonna say the same outlandish thing that might sound weird right now, but at this point, there's no way any GM of any NFL team will keep a $160 million backup. He's either going to play or be traded, one or the other.
Oh, 100%.
I can agree with that.
Also,
Mitch, how much time do you
didn't
have?
get benched till after
Oh, I
week
got-
15, by the way. So, like, he almost made the whole season, just for clarity.
As long as like I'm allowed to just like say hang up and go, I got to like 540, 545.
Okay.
Don't risk getting in trouble for work for this, Mitch. Like
No,
if
no,
you need to
no,
go, just
no.
go.
I'm not. As long as
Yeah,
I
because
meet
I was
my
just
bar.
I can punt what I was gonna do for next year.
No, we can do it.
I have-
For next year, we're not
I'm-
even a week. We're gonna wait an
I
entire
mean next
year to
week,
get to
next
Vinny's.
week, next week,
No,
next
no,
week.
Let's
you
do
heard
it.
it here, guys.
I,
Wait
uh,
till next July to get to Vinny's point.
I'm already ready to go. and
Okay.
everything. I just it's just traffic. So and I'm getting.
I have
Yeah, go on.
a mental list of buy or sell training camp hype. So I'm just going to go ahead and read,
Ooh,
or
I like this.
I kind of follow like a little bit too much. So I will go ahead and they might not be 100% true. I mean, as far as like, it's just like an article I've read on hype or I've seen hive minds talking about it. So buy or sell. The Chicago Bears look like a JV offense in the Ben Johnson era.
The Chicago Bears. Oh, and Vinny, real quick.
Like
you met
JV
my
meaning junior
boss.
varsity.
Yeah, that they're running a lot of gimmicky stuff and the Caleb Williams can't quite hack it. So buy or sell that the Bears offense looks terrible or is terrible under Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams.
Vinny, you've met my boss. I'll just tell him we were doing buy or sell training camp, and he'll be like, "All right, no worries. Come on, you guys want to tell me what you bought or sold on, or no? Okay, all right. So buy or sell on Ben Johnson
And Caleb Williams being a bad offense.
being a JV
I mean,
offense.
do I even need to
Yikes.
vote? Like, I feel like if anyone's listened to any episode of this podcast, they know I'm buying. I'm very very bullish on this stock. I'm buying.
I am going to put my trust in the coordinator, and I'm going to sell.
Selling. Okay, interesting. The split vote is so here's the thing. I think we talked last week. I was all in on the Bears and I've been reading some stuff that they're having. I mean, it's still early in camp, but that there are struggles on adjusting to the offense and it would not be the first time that a really good offensive coordinator was not a good head coach. So
Oh,
it's,
I'm gonna say something here, and this might be rare. I'm not gonna blame Caleb for this one. As a general rule, if you give a young player different coordinators year after year after year, they struggle.
For
That
sure.
is what happens with players that keep having to change coordinators. This is now going to be Caleb Williams' third coordinator in 3 years.
Like,
Yep.
have you? My issue. This is my only issue, Vinny, with it, and then I'll make it real quick. Is like, have you ever heard Cooper Kupp talk about Sean McVay from 2017 to 2019? He's like those play callings. Like he's like, there's no defense in the league that could have stopped us. We were so much farther ahead. Like we were going to win the Super Bowl during that time. I guarantee it. It was just based off the QB play, and that's why we went out and got Stafford. He was like, I promise you on anything. He's like, McVay was so far ahead of the defenses that it took 2 years for the defenses to change to stop McVay. I'm just wondering if Ben Johnson is that new guy. First it was Shanahan, then it went to McVay. It kind of passes the torch to, Mike McDaniels might have been there for a year or two. I'm just wondering if it's that point in period right now where Ben Johnson's offense is just so much better than the defense is that I don't know if Caleb's deficiencies matter. So I'm going to sell
Yeah.
right now.
okay. We'll keep it in division for a couple. Buy or sell JJ McCarthy struggling in training camp.
Sell, 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 sell.
Sell,
Wait.
sell, sell. Wow.
Wait,
Mitch is bullish
struggling?
on the.
Struggling?
Yeah.
Wait,
So, like,
wait,
Will
where do you
struggle.
want
How
this
about
to
this?
be?
I'm buying. Where can I buy these stocks in rookie and second year QBs that are struggling?
Oh, this is
where can I invest in this? This is like buying Netflix stock in 2005. Let me at it.
I feel like buying McCarthy stock right now is Netflix stock in 2005.
So, but you want in. So you're selling that that JJ McCarthy is a struggling quarterback his first year.
I am selling that he's going to be bad, and I am buying the potential that McCarthy might be better than Darnold.
Okay. Okay.
I've said that to you though like 2 months ago. I proposed that question to you guys. Is there a world where McCarthy's better than Darnold?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I think it's a world, but it's a risk that you would have to take, right? Buy or sell. Buy or sell. The Detroit Lions offense will be the same under the new regime
This year,
this year.
like immediately.
Success wise,
Sell, sell.
Sorry, let me hear that one again.
So buy or sell, the Detroit Lions will be the same caliber of offense under the new regime.
I'm sorry, but sell.
Just because McGoff's
Sell.
only had McVay and McGoff has probably had the two best coordinators in the league. Like he's gone from McVay to Ben Johnson. Let's see what Goff can do without one of these elite play callers.
Oh, it's not even that for me. It's you, you didn't just lose your offensive coordinator. You also lost your defensive coordinator, and that defense was already kind of piecemealed together. There's a world where that defense struggles, which means the offense is asked to do more and doesn't get to play with a lead as much. The play calling you can do when you're playing with a lead and the plays you can run when you're playing with a lead are different than when you're playing from behind. Also, I mentioned this last year, they played 15 of their 17 games in a dome. That's not going to happen again. That was just dumb luck. They're going to have more outdoor games. They might struggle more in outdoor games. We don't know. I just think that things went so incredibly well for them last year, it's hard to imagine they don't take a step back. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be bad, but I can't imagine a world where they don't take a step back after how good they were last year.
That's fair. Okay. Finally leaving the NFC North and going a little bit south to the Kirko Chains Atlanta Falcons. Buy or sell, Kyle Pitts will be a top tight end.
Ever or this year?
This
Of
year.
all time,
This
yeah.
year.
Let's make it.
This year.
It's impossible.
Buy or sell, Kyle Pitts season incoming.
Oh, well, ever doesn't change my answer. Sell. If Cousins can't make Pitts relevant, nobody can.
So in the 3 games that he played with what's his nuts, he had 1 catch for 7 yards, 2 catches for 15 yards, and 4 for 44. So he had 1 good game and 2 bad ones, which is kind of his MO. That was his second best game of the entire season, that 10-pointer. Only the second time he broke the double-digit mark. Man, I hate it, but I'm going to sell. Pitts is very talented, but for whatever reason, he can't put it all together. Like, he's got, like, raw talent, but it's like, it needs to be refined, and I guess he's never had a coach that can refine that talent.
Buy or sell.
This is the
go
first
ahead,
one Mitch
go
and I
ahead.
agreed on, by the way.
Yeah, it
It
is.
is.
And I'm just like, if you're telling me round 7, 8 Pitts, then I'm fine with it. But some sucker is going to take him in round 3, 4, 5 again, and that's your fault. You don't listen to the podcast. Next.
He was
Buy
tied at
or
13,
sell
so he
this
should not have been a
time.
starter.
Buy or sell this time next year. We're talking about Tet from the Carolina Panthers in the same breath as Brian Thomas, Lad McConkey, and Malik Neighbors from this year.
I'm sorry, who of the Carolina Panthers?
The rookie wide receiver.
I
is,
know, that was the
Ted.
fun.
I don't know his full name. So
Remind me again, who's the quarterback at the Carolina Panthers?
Bryce Young.
Yeah, we're selling.
Wait, in the same way that you guys were like the Giants are going to be behind all game, aren't the Panthers going to be behind with a better QB than the Giants?
A better QB? Are you insane? I'm
everyone's
sorry.
better than
Look,
Russ.
I don't have any love for Russell Wilson, but the guy went to 2 Super Bowls. Let's give him a little credit. Let's let Russ cook a little bit.
Yeah,
I would take Russell Wilson over.
I was in college when he went to that Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. Bryce Young, man. Bryce Young wasn't even good in college. Like, what's going on here?
I'm just kidding around. Well, the fact that we even have a Russ and Bryce Young debate, it shows you how far Russ has fallen.
All right. Buy or
not
sell.
I think there could, Vinny, the answer to the buy or sell that one. I don't think I will sell him, but I will buy that there is a wide receiver on the Panthers that could be a top 10 fantasy or top 8 fantasy wide receiver this year. I will buy that.
Interesting. I'm going to move to the AFC just to kind of like disperse it a little bit. I have a couple NFC ones if we have time. But buy or sell, the Indianapolis Colts finally have their quarterback in Anthony Richardson.
What? No, we just talked about how he's going to lose his job to Kirk Cousins
Is he gonna
potentially. I'm
start?
selling.
Is he going to start
There's,
even over Daniel?
there's a lot of camp hype that he's finally figured it out. And I agree. I'm a big sell. I'm a big
Is
sell
the
on this
kid
one.
picked
But
from the guy who drafted
It's-
him?
Okay. Buy or sell.
From the guy who drafted him, then
Tank
traded him
Biggs-
away in Dynasty.
I feel like you've had amazing
Yeah.
buy or sells until that one, but go on.
Buy or sell. Now, listen, this is camp hype. This is what I read. This is what I read. I am not a.
I mean, and that's impressive
Alright,
alone that you
selling
can
that
read,
one.
to be honest. So
Buy
I'm
or
gonna
sell.
sell.
Tank Bigsby is the running back to own in the Jaguars' backfield.
I am buying that, and the reason I am is because we saw Travis Etienne take a massive step backwards last year, whereas Tank Bigsby took a big step forward in the game where the games where he got the ball. So I don't know that either of them are going to be great. I think it's going to be a split. But I think by the end of the year, we may see Tank as the guy. And if there's a world where the Jaguars aren't playing from behind in every game, then Tank will definitely be the guy. If they're playing from behind, they're going to need a guy who can catch the ball better. But I think if I had to have one of them, I would take Tank, but I don't want either of them. So I'll buy.
So can you repeat the question? Tank is the starting, or will stay the starting?
Will be the guy. Will be the running back to own. Like, if you could only have one of them, which one do you want on your team?
Oh, I want it to be Tank, but Travis Etienne will get the job and fail first because you don't draft a first round running back and not make him run.
Okay.
So the Etienne will get the starting job. He'll probably play 3 or 4 weeks, and then Bigsby will have that job after that. So I don't know what I buy or sell on that one. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Buy or sell, Joe Flacco is the week 1 starter for the Cleveland Browns.
Sell. Flacco won't even be on the team week 1.
The week 1 starter? Well, hold on. What's the buzz out of camp?
Well, Kenny,
because right now isn't Shador facing the Browns facing first team?
It's the Steelers QB. It's the Steelers QB.
So right now, no, Pickett has a hamstring. He's out for like a month.
Well,
so
Pickett wasn't going to make the roster. So that's not Pickett's not going to make the roster.
Wait, so you think Pickett will make it over Flacco?
No, I think Flacco will be the starter. Because you don't go into the season. No team goes in the season with 4 QBs on the active roster. You have 3, two quarterbacks and emergency QB. They drafted 2 rookies, so those guys are going to be on the team because they've invested draft picks in them. And then they went out and signed Flacco and Pickett, and Flacco is significantly better than Pickett and has experience in the offense. So I think the 3 that make the roster are Flacco, Shador, and Gabriel. I don't think Pickett makes the team, especially with him being injured. So the question then becomes, does Flacco get the week 1 start over one of the rookies? And I say yes. Because if not, then you're cutting Flacco because he makes more money and you're keeping Pickett. But then you put yourself in a really bad situation where you're keeping an injured bad player like Pickett and giving yourself no chance. So I think Flacco will be week 1 starter. I'm buying.
All the other buy or sells, I could see how Alex could be right because we haven't picked the same buy or sell. But on this one, I'm going to have to strongly and politely disagree. Flacco was added to the team before those other 3 QBs. So Flacco was like holy F, we don't have a QB besides Deshaun Watson. I think Deshaun Watson has a better chance of starting the season before Flacco. I think I'm going to sell this. I don't even think Flacco's on the roster by week 1. It's going to be Gillen, Gabriel, Pickens, and Watson as their 4, and teams don't even normally keep 4. If they're going to cut another one, then it's definitely Flacco is going to be cut as one of those 2. If they only cut 1, I think it's Flacco. And the only reason I'm saying that is because Flacco was first, then they went out and got the other guys. It's not like they had those other guys and then went out and was like, dang, we need to go get Flacco as well because we don't know about Dillon and Shador. It was the other way around. So
I agree with you that either Flacco or Pickens will be cut. Like both veterans are not making the active roster. One of those 2 is going to be cut for the season. I just think that they're more likely to cut Pickens than Flacco.
Gotcha. I think that might be true.
Pickens going to be out for the next month, meaning he's going to miss a lot of the preseason. Flacco is just a better player. Flacco has experience on that roster, including helping to make
the best quarterback. That's what. If you're asking me that, Flacco's the best quarterback.
Right. So it would. The only reason you would ever cut Flacco over Pickens is a money issue, and I don't think that's like a significant enough reason to make that change.
I'm not trying to get conspiracy theorist or anything, but I don't know if the Browns are trying to win a game from get-go. If you put Flacco in, that means you're trying to win a couple games early on. I think the Browns might be playing for Archie Manning as we speak. So I'm not. That's the other reason too. Is I'm just not. Look, listen. Don't get me wrong. I said in the podcast a couple weeks ago, if you tell me Flacco is starting for the Browns, then I'm changing my answer from the worst. Or what did Vinny say? The team with the pie you want the least or whatever. And I said the Browns and the Giants. Well, I'll change my answer. If Flacco's starting, then the Browns could have fantasy relevant players. But I think they're playing for next year, and they're gonna just put fans in the seats. Flacco's not going to put fans in the seats in Cleveland. If you tell me Shador starting, those tickets are probably going to get bought in a second, or even Dillon Gabriel. So at least you can sell out a couple home games with Shador and Dillon. Flacco's not it's just all these arrows, and I don't know. I can't see Flacco. I'm going to sell on that one.
All right, do we have time for one more?
Yeah, we have time for 6 more minutes worth. 7 more minutes.
Okay.
I like
Buy or
I like how
sell?
the time keeps getting pushed out. By the way,
It does.
his hard out was at 5:25 Pacific.
5:25.
Then it was
Yeah.
5:40
Yeah,
Pacific.
but
Now it's
I got
5:45
ready.
Pacific.
I
We
did
got that
responsible.
hard
I
out.
I
Yeah.
did the responsible thing. I went and got ready a little bit earlier, and I went and got in my car across because we only have one parking spot. So whoever doesn't get the spot has to like park, in Timbuktu. So I went and got my car, brought it closer. So a lot of things changed. No
Wow.
big deal.
Look at that. I would have never guessed pre-planning. Uh, buy or sell Miles Sanders as the RB1 in Dallas?
I don't think there's going to be an RB in Dallas.
Yeah, like if the question is who's going to be the week 1 starter, yes, I'm buying, but I don't think that's going to be a committee and a half. I think there's going to be 7 guys toting the rock in Dallas this year. So, but week 1 starter, yeah, I think it'll be the veteran, sure.
Okay, nice. For a reminder, you've got Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, and Jade Blue, who is a rookie.
So what are you going to do?
Um,
Like, do you really want the Cowboys
The,
running?
the,
Like
the Cowboys are going to be a passing team again, like they were 2 years ago. So it comes down to who's the best pass blocker of those 3 guys.
Exactly.
And I think Miles
Yeah.
Sanders is going to be the best passing game option, both as a receiving threat as a pass blocker as a veteran. So I think for that reason, he is the starter.
Yeah, that's fair. Buy or sell with some recent news today that Chase Brown is a potential top 5 fantasy running back.
In standard.
And for those who don't know the news,
possible.
by news today, you mean the fact that Moss got cut from the
Moss
Bengals?
is cut, yes.
Yeah.
So now it's just Chase Brown and a rookie.
I mean,
So
is
you said top 5.
top 5's a big ask. Where did he finish last year? Hold on.
Top 5 is some big boys.
Yeah, I mean, even with as well as he played last year, he was like top 12.
Do we want to just go top 6? He's a first half of the first round.
I just don't think he's
mean-
talented enough. I think he is a product of the situation he is in more than his talent. So I'm going to sell for that reason and that reason only. I do think there's the potential there, and I think it would definitely happen if it was a more talented guy. And like I think if you put James Cook in that backfield, absolutely. But I just don't think Chase Brown is as talented enough to be a top 5 guy, even in the amazing situation he's in.
Okay. Let's go. Let's see. Where should we go next? I'm just looking at teams here. Let's go to what I wanted to say earlier. So buy or sell Marvin Harrison Jr. as finishing as a top 15 fantasy wide receiver this year. He's currently
I can buy
being
that.
drafted as wide receiver 18 in ADPs.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
I was
One of the
going to
first
make
things
a
I
bold
bought.
prediction and buy, but I've been disagreeing with Mitch on almost all these, and so I feel like maybe I should disagree and say sell. But I'm gonna go bold. I'm gonna go bold and buy. I think the hype around him was real. I think going into his sophomore campaign, he will be better. So I will buy, and also I think that there's a lot of the guys who were top 15 wide receivers who are going to fall off this year, which is going to open up the spot for somebody, and why not him? So I'll buy.
I'm going to buy it in the sheer fact that if you get rid of Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors' existence, everyone would be talking about how good Marvin Harrison is. But because Marvin Harrison got outshined a little bit, he's not, I think, being
We got outshined a
overlooked.
lot of it, right? Like
A lot of it. You're right.
he was
But I think that's
5th best rookie.
yeah. But
fourth best
let's not
rookie.
forget, a year ago we're calling Marvin Harrison Jr. the best prospect at wide receiver since
No,
Yeah,
I agree, but and like I'm saying, if you look at these guys who finish up at the top, like we all kind of think Brian Thomas is going to step back. We think Terry McLaurin's not going to have 13 TDs again. Drake London, we're not sure because he had a new QB. He's older. Mitch is obviously out on him. Cortland Sutton just got paid. Not sure there. Like Devontae Adams isn't going to be here. So Jameson Williams isn't going to be here. So like Garrett Wilson's not going to be here. Jerry Judy's not going to be here. So like when you look at like the guys that have to drop down, somebody's got to move up. So why not him?
Yeah, exactly. And also, I know that doesn't count for injury guys, but you're right. He got so outshined last year. That's why. But I'm just saying, in a parallel universe where Neighbors and Brian Thomas aren't there yet or whatever, he's probably like, oh my gosh, you got to get Marvin Harrison, one of the best rookie receivers we've seen in a while. So you know what I mean?
Okay, last one, because this will be like a 2-second answer, and then Mitch, you can go to work.
Yep.
Uh, Buy or sell Aaron Rodgers is washed.
Buy or
Hold on,
wash?
just out of curiosity, is that the report you're hearing out of correspondent Alex Sparks, or is that a report you're actually hearing? Out of
So it
camp?
was a report I heard for the first two training camp practices that he was getting undercut a lot on out routes, but apparently it's looked brighter since then. So I am now embellishing it a little bit. But
But yeah,
Aaron
but yeah,
Rodgers
I'm I'm
washed in
I'm
Pittsburgh.
all in on that. I'm buying, and I would have made the pie bet if Mitch had taken it. But yeah, I think Rodgers is
But
washed.
that's not a pie bet on Rodgers though. That's a pie
It
bet on the
it is
Steelers
because
whole
right
team
because
though.
because the question is if the Pittsburgh Steelers, who were a playoff team last year, changed quarterbacks to Aaron Rodgers, if he is good, then they presumably get better, not worse. So they would make the playoffs again and win more games. But the fact that you aren't confident in that tells me all I need to know. He's washed.
I
So wait,
mean,
is there a pie bet around the Steelers that surrounds them with Mike Tomlin not having a winning season? Is anybody bold enough to take that bet? I'm not sure I am. I'm
I'd
just
have to. I'd have to look.
wondering.
We'll look at the schedule. We'll figure out some kind of pie bet involving either Rodgers or the Steelers for next time. We're not on the same page yet, but we'll figure one out that we're both comfortable
yeah,
with. Because
we'll
I don't
get
want
to
to end up
it.
in a situation like last time where someone felt like they were peer pressured. So we'll figure something out for next time.
Hey, I got kind of dog walked into one of those bets. So,
Well, here's the thing: is you felt very strongly, I might add, that we all hoodwinked you into a bet that we actually reduced your claim down to when you took the bet.
It's a bet that Mitch actually
So,
made the initial
it was
offer.
we were
Mitch.
literally saying the same thing, but it was 16 or 17 games. If you literally just add
Yeah, but
one
we
more
look.
game,
We
it's the
worked. Look,
same
hey, we
bet.
worked it out after the fact. Let's not worry about that right now. That's something I want everyone to be comfortable with it. So we will figure out some kind of bet around the 41-year-old washed out
And the
QB
way
Aaron
you
Rodgers.
guys laughed at me for the Cousins bet and all that kind of and the Darnold bet or whatever, I feel like in the spirit of it, even though it was like pretty even, I feel like for the content of the podcast, I get the massive W.
okay, I just want to read. We'll do some research. These are the first, let's say, I don't know, I haven't counted, 8 games for the Steelers: Jets, Seahawks, Patriots, Vikings, Browns, Bengals, Packers, Colts. I do not know if I want to take a losing season pie bet when you start with the Jets, Seahawks, Patriots, Vikings, Browns, Bengals, Packers, Colts. Like,
Well,
there's only like one or two guaranteed losses in there.
the
I
Vegas
mean,
has them at
yeah.
8.5. That scares me. That tells me the Vegas doesn't think the Steelers are very good.
That also tells me that Vegas does not want to bet against Mike Tomlin. They're like,
To give them eight
let's
and a
just set him
half is
exactly
more.
at 500.
At
Yeah,
500, yeah,
just
they don't
let's.
want to go against it. That makes sense, actually. So they're really a six-win team, but Vegas is afraid too.
Vegas is scared of heaters, man. They're scared of heaters. The guy's done it like 10 years in a row or
There's
his
too many
entire career.
Rodgers fans who are like, Rodgers on the Steelers who never lose. We have to add 2 or 3 games. Yeah, I don't know. Let's just put it this way, Alex. I am not as confident as Rodgers being good this year as I am last year that Darnold was going to be good. So let's just put it that way. I'm not. I am going to be a Steeler fan, and I'll put it at that. I don't know if I am going to end up putting a pie bet on it because I don't want to ruin my last year ever of watching Rodgers with some pie bets. So I'm just going
Uh,
to preface it with that. But in the spirit of things, you just pretend you know I would have taken a pie bet over Rodgers. But
Hey,
it's like I
one
started.
last question before you leave, Mitch. Who
Yeah,
threw for more? Who had more 300-yard passing games last year? Kirk Cousins or Aaron Rodgers?
I'm going to guess it's
It's
Cousins.
Kirk Cousins with 2, and Rodgers only
With
had 1.
two. And they were against the same team.
and one was like 550 yards. Yeah, both
No,
were
both of
against the
them.
Bucks,
Both
weren't
of them
they?
against the Bucks. Yeah, he got like
Just,
a third of his passing yards in 2 games.
All right, go to work, Mitch. I don't want you in trouble. No, one was against the
Bye,
Saints.
everybody.
Oh, that Kirk Cousins had 3.
three.
Oh,
Vikings,
three.
Vikings, Saints, and Bucks.
Hey,
Oh, the other Bucks he threw for 280 and 4 touchdowns,
Yeah,
Mitch. So
for
sorry,
TDs.
not quite 300.
Yeah.
that's on record. I said halfway through last year I'm done rooting against Cousins. I like the guy, so I hope he does well from here on out. Go Cousins.
All right,
Go
later, man.
Julie.
Yeah, go
Julie.
Julie. Bye, guys.
See you, man.
Okay, see ya.
All right. Well, Mitch had to have his heart out. 23 minutes after the heart out happened. So hopefully he makes it to work on time and doesn't get himself in trouble. Any final thoughts, Ben, before we wrap this thing up?
No, I appreciate it, and I'm just glad that there's only one man left standing in this podcast that also agrees with me and Aaron Rodgers. So,
So you're also on the Rodgers watch train.
gosh, it's a delusion of grandeur. Mitch has
I
delusions
know,
of
man.
grandeur
Like,
around Aaron
look
Rodgers.
at look at this. Look at this. Like, he had one 300-yard passing game in 18, like the entire season.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
Listen,
man.
I don't know how the Jets somehow got worse with Rodgers versus Zach Wilson there at the beginning of the season. So, um,
And somehow they're going to
Yeah.
somehow the Steelers are going to get better with Rodgers, but not have more wins. Like, what? How does that even work?
yeah. I mean, you guys heard me talk about it last year. I would have probably considered Breece Hall as a top 2 fantasy pick last year and possibly number 1 because he was the running back 5 in 2023 with Zach Wilson. So I was like, I bought into the Rodgers will make them better hype, and then subsequently Breece Hall would be better, and he was awful. And I still think Breece is a good football player. So it's I don't know. I don't know who to blame, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, time will tell. We'll figure out a pie bet for next time. But in the meantime, Vin, nice chatting as always. Say goodbye to all the people out there in
Yes.
listener land.
See ya, Delvers.
Peace.